Good evening and welcome to ITV News. This is Wednesday night's calendar.
And these are tonight's main stories.
Levelling the playing field, the fight to use some of modern football's untold riches to help cover former players' dementia care.
When you think about all the billions in football that is there sat, it's unbelievable to me that they can't put more money into that pot.
Police launch an investigation after the bodies of a man and a woman are discovered in a property in Leeds.
Doing it for Rob, how friends, families and the whole MND community are warming up for the marathon bearing his name.
A lot of people didn't know what MND was before Kevin and Rob, and it's really, this what has been amazing, honestly.
I'm at Chatsworth House, surrounded by dragonflies, 1,300 of them in fact. Join me shortly to find out why.
And summertime highs for the end of April. How long will the warm weather last? All the detail a little later on.
Good evening. First tonight to the growing number of former Yorkshire footballers suffering with dementia and their families' fight to get them the care they need.
Back in the 60s and 70s, the so-called beautiful game was very different. Players didn't earn the fortunes of today's superstars, and the heavy ball they used is now blamed for an alarmingly high rate of brain-related diseases.
Well, among those affected is Alan Gilliver, who played for Bradford City and Huddersfield Town. He was recently moved from a care home into hospital as his dementia takes its toll. Alan's wife, Christine, has been talking to Katie Oscroft.
There are 20 recorded incidents of him either being knocked out on the pitch and playing on, magic sponge, or being taken to hospital because he'd been knocked out properly. So if that was a Saturday, we would have played again on the Wednesday.
Alan Gilliver played in different times, twice for his beloved Bradford City, but also for Huddersfield and other clubs in the 60s and 70s. But after a long career, he can't remember so much as a free kick.
He can't remember any of it, can he?
No, he doesn't know his name. I said to him, "That's you," and he just looked at me. I feel robbed. I feel robbed for him.
Christine hopes Alan will be out of hospital soon and back to his care home, which overlooks Valley Parade. After playing there, he spent many years as a key member of the backroom staff.
It breaks my heart. He didn't just play there. He was Mr. Bradford City.
A study of 7,500 professional footballers showed what families have long feared, that they're 5 times more likely to suffer from dementia.
And Styles surely once again impeded.
Nobby Stiles was among them. He died 5 years ago. His 1966 World Cup winning dance etched on many minds, but in his final years, he could not recall it. His son John travelled to Westminster to ask for this wealthy sport to divert more of its riches into financial help for care of former players.
Every week I've got families ringing me, football families, saying if he goes into a care home, we don't know what we're going to do because there isn't adequate provision, and there's so much money in football.
John followed in his father's footsteps, playing for Leeds and Doncaster, and fears for his own health.
This is the sort of age when my dad started to get poorly. He had a slightly longer career than me, but I am very concerned, along with a lot of my fellow ex-pros.
The FA said today it continues to take a leading role in reviewing and improving the safety of the game. And as 5 of the World Cup winning squad were diagnosed with dementia, the government says it recognises that the welfare of former professionals should be better protected.
When you think about all the billions in football that is there sat doing what? Interest, paying big wages. It's just unbelievable to me that they can't put more money into that pot.
Alan Gilliver's wife says football should help those who are suffering because they played the game they loved. Katie Oscroft, ITV News.
Some more of the day's news now, and a man and a woman have been found dead in a flat in Leeds by police responding to a missing person report. Officers entered the terrace property on Dawlish Road in Osmondthorpe yesterday evening after a woman was reported missing. A forensic tent was erected at the scene as officers searched the property. West Yorkshire Police say their inquiries are ongoing.
A second woman injured in a crossbow attack in Leeds has now been discharged from hospital. She needed life-saving surgery after Owen Lawrence went on the rampage in Headingley on Saturday, targeting people on the popular Otley Run pub crawl. He died yesterday from a self-inflicted injury. Both of his victims were female. The other woman was released from hospital at the weekend, and counter-terrorism police believe misogyny may have been a motive behind the attack.
An urgent appeal has been shared for a footballer from Doncaster who's been missing since Saturday. Former Bradford City player Leon Osborne was last seen going to Birmingham via Doncaster train station, according to his current club, Brigtown FC.
Polls open tomorrow in the biggest test of political opinion since last summer's general election. Voters in Doncaster, Derbyshire, Nottinghamshire are among those in our region who will have the chance to elect their local councillors, and Doncaster's mayor is also up for election. Polls open at 7 a.m. and close at 10 p.m. and of course you need photo ID when you go to the polling station.
Now, the countdown is well and truly on to the start of the third Rob Borough Leeds Marathon, and hundreds of people, of course, are making their final preparations for the gruelling 26.2-mile course. Well, one of them is Rob's wife, Lindsay, and we'll hear from her very shortly.
Well, this year is the first without the Rhinos legend, but his spirit and his legacy continue to inspire others to rise to the challenge. Among them, an MND patient from Wakefield who's following Rob's example in more ways than one, as Lisa Adlam has been finding out.
Warming up for the big push to complete the Rob Borough Leeds Marathon, lifelong Rhinos fans Matt, Andrew and Richard have put in the hard yards to emulate their sporting hero to raise funds and awareness of MND. Even down to Andrew's wheelchair, modelled on the one Rob used for the inaugural event 2 years ago.
We got in touch with the company and they've kind of designed that similar kind of chair then around my dad, and then, like I said, the GFS Limited in Hull have then kindly and generously donated that to us, and you know it's been brilliant so far. You know, that's very comfortable in it, and we've had quite a lot of training around this track here.
Like, it's enjoyable, it's tough, but obviously what we're going through is nothing compared to some of the people in the MNDA community. So yeah, we'll just take it in our stride and do our bit, really.
Doing their bit means everything to the team known as Clan Goff. Andrew was diagnosed with a rare form of MND last year and is determined to give back to a cause that has given so much to others.
Obviously, with the condition and Rob's legacy as well, I want to obviously take part in the marathon. A lot of people didn't know what MND was before Kevin and Rob decided to do all this, and it's really, this has been amazing, honestly.
In honour of Rob's famous shirt number, they're aiming to raise £7,777 for the Motor Neurone Disease Association. And despite the many miles ahead, looking forward to a special day.
Doing it all together as a team and getting over that finishing line and getting up the hills as well, I think we just want to have a bit of fun with it.
It's really heartwarming, and it'll be a very emotional day, that day, for all of us.
It will doubtless be emotional for many of those taking part, but like Team Clan Goff, thoughts of the man who brought them all together will keep them pushing on. Lisa Adlam, ITV News, Wakefield.
Well, yes, it's less than 2 weeks to go, of course, until the big race, and someone else taking part on that gruelling course is Rob Borough's wife, Lindsay, as we said.
And it'll be her second marathon in the space of a fortnight after she finished the London Marathon on Sunday. Here she is with her brother, who also ran the race. Well, earlier we caught up with Lindsay and we started by asking her how she was feeling 3 days on.
Yeah, not too bad. I think, my legs are starting to recover now. I've managed to get down the stairs in one piece this morning, which is, so I'm feeling good. Might try and do a running in the next couple of days. So, looking forward to the next one.
Well, you're certainly looking very good. What was it like doing it in amongst the crowds and all the people? And it was hot.
It was hot, yeah. I think it was the first time that I wanted it to rain in London. It was a great, if you're on a golf course or you're a spectator, but for the runners, it was really tough. But the crowds and the support was unparalleled. It was just amazing, just such a special occasion. There were so many people out support along the route, just incredible. And I think it was a real true spirit of strength, compassion, and never giving in. And you saw so many people that were just carrying others, helping each other just across that finish line. It was a really special occasion.
And when you get over that finishing line, what goes through your mind at that point?
Oh, just thank goodness, thank goodness I've completed it. I've got round in one piece, and it's just such a special feeling. I wanted to run the marathon in Rob's name. I wanted to make him proud, and he was in my thoughts the whole way round, and I was doing that for Rob. And I thought to myself, I hope he's proud. I hope he's watching down and feeling proud.
Yeah, I'm sure he was, and Kevin Sinfield was proud too.
Yeah, he sent me a message to say good luck before the run, and then messaged me afterwards to say well done. I hope you're okay, I hope you're in one piece, and ready to go for the next one.
Exactly.
Yeah, the next one's coming up, of course. London Marathon was just a rehearsal, wasn't it? So how are you feeling about the next one that's coming up in a couple of weeks?
Nervous. I've did the Leeds one back in 2023, the inaugural Rob Burrow Leeds Marathon, and it's a tough course. For anyone that does a marathon, that the training that goes in, it is, it's a tough feat getting up the Leeds one. So I'm not looking forward to the hills, but it's just about putting one foot in front of the other, and reasons why you're doing it. I'm doing it to fundraise, to raise awareness, to continue to make Rob proud, and to continue his legacy.
And so many other people will be doing exactly the same thing, and it's really working, isn't it? Because the MND Centre, we've seen how much they're moving forward. What do you think about all of that?
I just think it's so incredible, and I think to have the centre in Rob's name is going to help so many families, and for us as a family as well, on a personal level, to be able to go there, and that's part of Rob's legacy, and to be able to remember Rob, and it will help so many families from Leeds and other areas. So I just feel incredibly proud to have the centre, and I think the centre will give people hope. Nobody looks forward to going into hospital, but having a centre that's purposely built for the MND community will make such a difference.
And it is making a difference, because only this week we've just reported on Calendar about the groundbreaking research in Leeds and how AI is playing its part as well, looking at people's tongues and looking for twitches in tongues and how that can be an early diagnosis. So that is proof it works.
It is, absolutely, and I think it's really key as well, because that early diagnosis is so important. Many people with MND don't get the early diagnosis, can be misdiagnosed for months. So I think to have that early diagnosis and to have the technology, and that's all down to the incredible fundraising and people's generosity that have donated to the appeal, that we now have this research grant to be able to look at technologies that are going to give people hope. And nobody wants to get that diagnosis, but to have that care and to be on the right pathway and to get the right care is crucial.
And how are the little ones? How are they doing? How are they coping with everything?
Yeah, really good. I think in many ways they're just like Rob. They're incredibly brave and courageous, and they keep me going. They wake up every morning with big smiles on their faces, and they're the reason that I keep going, and they're the reason that I'll continue to try and keep Rob's legacy going and make him proud.
And plans to run marathons themselves?
Yes. So Maita's already worked out that in 5 years' time it'll be the 50th London Marathon, and she'd like to run the 50th. So
with you?
With me, yes, yeah.
Of course. Brilliant. Lindsay, thank you. It's always lovely to see you.
Pleasure,
well
thank
done
you.
on everything you've done. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, she's wonderful, isn't she? You're watching Wednesday night's Calendar with Ian White and Lara Roster, and still to come tonight. Rolling back the years as ITV celebrates 70 years of broadcasting, we go back to the very early days and a memorable first night on air.
And I'm basking in this beautiful weather here at Chatsworth House, watching the sun glint in the wings of these stainless steel dragonflies. But why? Stay tuned to find out.
Yes, Adam, thank you. We'll see you shortly. Now, next to a warning to think twice before replying to text messages about parcel deliveries. You're probably being targeted by criminal con men.
It's one of the latest ways scammers are trying to get hold of our personal details and ultimately into our bank accounts.
Well, James Webster has been speaking to one Yorkshire-based delivery firm to see how they're fighting back.
It might sound and look like a real text, but this message isn't from who it claims to be.
I have very nearly fallen foul of this.
Warnings about such scams are appearing on social media.
Looks like it's from Royal Mail about a parcel, but let's take a closer look.
Consumer champions are explaining how some of these messages are not from the delivery companies whose logos have been used.
Always visit the official website directly.
Scammers hope by imitating companies like Every, DPD or Yodel, they'll convince people to fill in their details and even make so-called redelivery payments. Nathan Duff from Leeds works for a company that performs ethical hacking, where they try to test how secure IT systems are.
I think the main thing to take away from this is most of the parcel delivery companies have openly stated that they will never ask for those payments over text or email, and so therefore you can pretty much blanket ignore them and just instead go to those respective companies' delivery websites and parcel websites and search for the status of your package on there instead.
One of the delivery firms that's trying to reduce the fake messages is Every, which ships many parcels through this depot near Barnsley.
This hub is one of 3 the company has across the UK. When it was built, it was the biggest in Europe. To give you an idea of the scale, in one day 1 million parcels will whiz round on these conveyor belts. Across the country, the company delivers 800 million parcels every year to 12 million customers.
It is no surprise scammers see their customers as such a target. The firm's director of cybersecurity has been showing me round.
So this year alone, in the last 12 months, we have taken down over 15,000 fake domains. Now these are malicious websites and social media profiles, because we're seeing quite a big uptake in that.
So while delivery firms are shutting down the scammers, they also know criminals will continue searching for new ways to get hold of people's money. James Webster, ITV News, Barnsley.
Yes, we just need to be very careful, don't we? Now, the ITV Evening News continues at 6:30. Here's a look at what's happening with Mary Nightingale.
On the Evening News, a paedophile who spent 3 decades on the run has finally faced justice for his crimes. Richard Burrows, who was arrested at Heathrow Airport last year, has been sentenced to 46 years in prison. The moment the tree fell, court has shown video of the alleged felling of the Sycamore Gap tree. And preparations begin to celebrate VE Day, 80 years on. Would you join me for those stories and more at 6:30?
Oh, Mary, you know, you've got a lovely studio, but not as nice as ours. Look at ours, look at this, it's fantastic. Laura, I'm leaving you. I'm going to take our friends, our viewers, on a little tour of this wonderful building, ITV Yorkshire's home. And it was, of course, Yorkshire Television back in the day. Think of all the programmes that have been made over the years, including, of course, Calendar every night since 1968. And we're celebrating ITV's 70th birthday, so we thought we'd show you what goes on in here. This is the news gallery, where it's all buzzing. They're keeping us on track. That's Rob over in the far distance there on cameras. Alex here's pushing all the buttons direct to the programme tonight, making sure that everything looks right on screen. Well done, Alex. Charlotte, you're timing the programme. How long have we got?
20 seconds.
20 seconds. Oh, just enough time to say hello to Drew, who's producing tonight.
Hello.
You've done a few shows over the years, haven't you?
Too many, some say.
Too many, he says. Well, there you go. Of course, it all started back in 1968, didn't it, when Yorkshire Television went on the air for the very first time. So we thought we'd have a look through the archives and, in particular, remember a very royal opening.
It gives me great pleasure to initiate this first broadcast from Yorkshire Television's new studios in Leeds.
And there's a permanent reminder for visitors to ITV Yorkshire of that historic moment 57 years ago. It's here in reception. Let's have a look. Morning, Lorna.
Good morning.
You all right? Yeah, you. Nice to see you. Back in 1968, reception and the YTV building looked very different, but it does, of course, hold decades of memories. Now, Lara and I are lucky enough to be the presenters of Calendar today, but back in 1968, the very first presenter was Jonathan Aitken. And guess what? He remembers it very well.
The first night was a disaster on epic proportions for about 5 reasons. First of all, the studio wasn't quite finished. The machines were not working properly. And then there was a strike. The furniture movers wouldn't move the furniture in. And so we had to do the whole show standing up. It was huge. There was a great buzz of excitement. For the first time, Yorkshire was having its own programmes. I think to launch a television station is a sort of milestone moment in anybody's life. Calendar actually always had an originality and a flair. Just went wrong on that first night.
Well, the 1970s were a boom period for Yorkshire television, and it was, in fact, in 1972 when Emmerdale Farm first hit the screens. Now, of course, it's a successful continuing drama, still going strong after all those years. I thought I'd go and have a little look at the set and perhaps meet a familiar face as well. Through here.
I used to watch it when I was a kid, in the afternoons, when it was just on the afternoons with my nan and gramp. And I remember them saying, oh yeah, Seth's so amazing, you're going to love Seth Armstrong, and watching it, and Mr. Wilkes. And then to actually come into it all those years later, it was so, you can imagine, it was so peculiar and mind-bending that I've been watching these iconic characters, and then, you know, come and meet Stan who played Seth. It was an amazing experience, kid really. And, you know, that my family, you know, they would religiously sit down, it's 7 o'clock, it's time for the soaps now. And, you know, that was it. And you were just locked into ITV for the evening. So to be part of it all these years later feels like such a strange and wonderful privilege.
Let's go back to the opening day. Our first programme, well, cricket from Headingley, of course.
As you've just heard, you've missed practically nothing. 3 or 4 balls.
And the night ended with a live variety show filmed at Leeds University, compared by Bob Monkhouse, with a specially penned song. Show business, Lara, show business.
Goodness me, those were the days, weren't they?
Weren't they just?
Now, hot off the press, you won't believe this, because it was the Duchess of Kent, of course, who opened the doors, really, to Yorkshire TV. And she says, she sent us this letter, and she says that she remembers that very day in 1968, and she wishes ITV Broadcasting all the very best wishes for our anniversary. And she said she treasures, in particular, the contribution of ITV Yorkshire.
That's right.
Isn't
And that
that
has literally
amazing?
just arrived, hasn't it? Which is amazing.
From the Duchess of Kent herself.
Fantastic. Thank you very much.
Wonderful. OK, now, it's been a Grade 1 listed property since the 17th century, and it's regularly seen on our screens here at ITV Yorkshire. But it's also been on Pride and Prejudice and Peaky Blinders. But now Chatsworth House has become even more picturesque, thanks to the addition of thousands of dragonflies.
Yes, don't worry, these ones are made of stainless steel, and it's all for a good cause. Adam Fowler has spent the day there, and we asked him, you know, were these dragonflies a sight to behold?
They certainly are. Take a look at them. They're glinting all around me here. There's around 1,300 of them here, stainless steel, each one individually handcrafted. And it's all to raise money for Ashgate Hospice, which provides compassionate care to people with terminal or life-limiting illnesses. So, two people who know all about that are Barry and Claire. Barry, first of all, what do you think of this display here?
Don't they look marvellous, and with this beautiful sunshine, all shining and glistening. Wonderful.
And we were lucky enough to film with both of you just a couple of years ago when your late wife Sue was in the hospice. It's a very special place to you, isn't it, Barry?
It is. It's very special to us. Sue staying in the hospice gave us another 3 or 4 months in the summer when we could bring Sue home for a few weeks and spend some extra time with the family before she sadly passed away in the August.
Yeah. And Claire, I mean, it had such an impact on you. You ended up becoming a volunteer there.
Yes, yeah, that's right. I was going to say, Mum spent quite a while in the hospice, and during that time we got to, you know, spend a lot of time with all the different staff members there, and there are an enormous amount of volunteers that help keep the hospice running. And because of the good work that they do along with the staff, was why I chose to be a volunteer, and that's something that I'm continuing to do now.
Well, thank you both for your time. We're also joined by Claire from the hospice itself. And these dragonflies here, they are available to people, and that's very important, isn't it?
It is. They're beautiful, brilliant, but they're a suggested donation of £30, which will hopefully help us raise £100,000 from this display alone.
And that's so important, isn't it? Because you only get 31% of your funding from the NHS, the rest you have to raise yourselves.
We do. We have a shortfall of around £11 million. So events like this and other events done through our community are so important to raise those vital funds for that essential care that we deliver at Ashgate.
Yeah, and it would mean that you could open up more beds as well, wouldn't it, if you could get more funding?
It would. We have the ability to have 21 beds, but we only have the funding for 15 of those to be open currently.
OK, vitally important. Thank you all very much for talking to me. It's a wonderful display here, and if you want to see it, it's on until the 22nd of May.
Chatsworth House certainly looking beautiful in the sunshine.
He's had a lovely day today, our Adam, hasn't he? In fact, we all have, Kerry, haven't we?
Yeah, absolutely gorgeous there in the south of the region and across all parts of our calendar patch. This was in the west, Ingleborough. Thankfully, Matt Barker was there first thing this morning. I'm not sure I would want to do any of the three peaks today. It has been mid-20s Celsius, and out towards the east, this was Scarborough. Mick and Lynn from Doncaster took a trip. It looks like the Med, and we have really rival temperatures in the Med during the course of today. We've actually got low pressure. That's waiting out in the west, in just the west of Portugal, and that's going to give some pretty unsettled conditions there over the next 24 hours. But for us, it's only going to get warmer as we head through into tomorrow. But I can say very warm, you guys. I can't say hot because officially our Met Office terminology for mid-March to mid-May only goes up to very warm. I think we need to change that with our changing climate.
We might have to.
Sheffield was mid-20s, 25 Celsius today. Warmer tomorrow by a degree or two across all parts, even out towards the coast. We have got a northeasterly by Sunday. It will peg back the temperatures, but 13 is more like what we'd expect for the time of year. But yes, tomorrow is going to feel very warm. So we need to take some advice from these cows cooling down in the River Nids at Little Ribston near Wetherby. Good advice there, just taking a cooling off. That's what we need to do with those temperatures being 10 to 12 degrees above the average. This was a polar bear cooling down at Yorkshire Wildlife Park. A big thank you to Phil Andrews for this shot. And if you don't want to cool down with the water, take shade in our lovely spring woodland. This is Pepper and Rosie. A big thank you to Kerry Greenfield for showing the shot. So will those very warm temperatures continue for that long weekend?
A clear start makes way for a day of ancient discoveries. TUI sponsors ITV Yorkshire weather.
Yes, a little bit of high cloud around, certainly first thing this morning, turning that sunshine hazy at times, but still plenty of blue sky, dry, sunny and with light winds, feeling very warm, if not feeling hot for the time of year. Some hot air balloons in Flaxton in York earlier on today, and plenty of hot air as we head into tomorrow with high pressure hanging on. As it does slip away eastwards, it allows weak weather fronts to come through as we head into the weekend, not really amounting to much, just dragging in that northeasterly for Sunday, and then high pressure rebuilding as we head through next week and the temperatures rising a little bit once more. We stay fine and mild for daylight hours for this evening, and overnight tonight a quiet story once more. Light winds, mostly dry, fairly clear, and certainly for elevated areas over the Pennines could be really pretty warm in places overnight tonight. In the Vales and Valleys, maybe down into the mid-single figures, but we are expecting it to be frost-free in many places tomorrow. Similar to this morning, will start off very mild indeed. 5:31 and 8:36 are your sun times. A warm start, feeling very warm to hot into the afternoon tomorrow. We do expect the temperatures to peak for Thursday, and the winds will remain light. Very small chance of catching a shower if you're in the Yorkshire Dales, for example. Could be heavy, possibly thundery if you catch one, but for most parts of our region, it will be dry, sunny and very warm with continued light winds. Just a little bit of a breeze pushing in from that mild southwesterly direction. Could be an evening shower, but tending to fizzle away overnight tomorrow night. Another mostly dry and relatively mild day on Friday, although the temperatures will be down. Cooling off over the coming few days, but many places dry.
TUI sponsors ITV Yorkshire weather.
There you go, and a reminder that the sun is as strong now as it is in late August.
Right,
gosh,
thank you
that
very
is,
much indeed.
yeah, that's very warm, isn't
Hey,
it?
do you know what, you two?
What?
We're getting the wrap up from Charlotte. And Alex.
Time to stop talking. Here we go.
Have a good night.
Bye-bye.
Off there in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.